Good morning. How is everyone today? This is Michelle Love, and you're listening to Dynamic Change on KPCA LP in Petaluma, a free-range radio TV station. And today, I will be discussing feeling abundant and connected to your community as opposed to holding on to fear around feeling safe and having enough financial stability. So I'm going to provide ways for you today to release those kinds of plaguing thoughts, right? Of feeling like there's things you don't have, like the feeling of lack. So again, my name is Michelle Love. This show is called Dynamic Change. This show provides psychological insight and techniques for releasing emotional blocks. I am a certified wellness coach, certified self-defense instructor, fitness trainer, and I have a degree in psychology. And I like to provide as much information as possible for people that is very applicable, easy to access, so they can find relief in their lives and more wellness and have less stress. I do a lot of guided meditations to work on the somatic level of the body, which is the somatic experience is how our body experiences our emotions and how it lives in our body and everything. So all of it's connected, the mind, the body, and also we have energy in our body that helps regulate our emotional body, and it's all connected. So when our mind is really stressed out, it's going to affect our physical body. The energetic system of the body gets affected, which can affect your heart. There's a lot of systems that will be affected by stress. And so I think it's very vital to decrease stress and release emotional blocks and find new patterns in our lives that will be helpful. So that is my goal. If you need more information on me, you can always go to my website, dynamicchangewellness.com. You can email me through the website, asking me any questions or anything you would like for me to problem solve with any kind of emotional block or something that has been difficult. And I will always speak to that, and I appreciate anyone's anytime they have something I can help with, I'm thrilled to tackle that. So today I would like to be discussing, I think it's very easy to feel some instability in life when it comes to financial concerns. I think that's a very real, very, very common difficult situation that a lot of us are trying to navigate in life. And so it can cause a lot of stress, and it can also make you feel unsafe, feel like you cannot, feel like you have everything you need within your life on a material world. Not that I really have never been very invested in focusing just on material things, but as far as being able to just have our home, be able to eat, be able to purchase the things we need in order to survive, and just feel like it's not a struggle, to feel like it's not a stress, can be a challenge at times throughout life. I think all of us at some point have had moments of that, and I think it really affects our feeling very safe within ourselves, feeling like we could just relax. I think there's a real drive and a push that can go along with feeling like you have to kind of fight for your survival on that level. And I think that can really keep us in fight or flight and be really bad for our health, be really bad for our mind, to be feeling like it cannot relax, that there has to be this constant focus to achieve something that maybe feels unachievable at times, that feels like there's never, if we let go for a moment of that pressure and that drive and that stress, right, that adrenaline towards trying to find that goal, then there is no survival, or there is no relief. And the quality of life, that's a big deal. That's a really big deal. And I think other cultures, from my limited knowledge of them, I think they look at quality of life and materialism differently at times. Even cultures that can be quite poor, I think they do value their connection with their family and quality of life in a different way. And so I think the American culture has really became like a workaholic, well, has always been that way as a young country, to work so hard that sometimes we lose the focus of how are we connecting with the people that are part of our like family, our really close community, our quality of life of are we getting enough rest and enough playtime, enough relaxation to where we can enjoy people. And I think it's a really challenging thing to balance out in life. So I would like to talk about that today. So I think that it's important to to live within your means as much as possible and find ways to release things that can be let go that just cause financial stress. So whenever I'm trying to balance everything, I will look at everything I have in my life and I will say, okay, where can I kind of trim down and just start there to release the amount of pressure that I am feeling from the amount of bills or things I have in my life that cost money, that are just expensive. So I will look at that first, just to create a little bit of relief. When we have action to something that is stressful for us, the action helps alleviate the stress. When we are frozen in our fear, when we are frozen within that stress and that pressure, there is no relief. It just gets worse. So I think it's good to kind of get a piece of paper and write it down. So you're doing a physical action and make a list. Is there anything that I really don't need that I can let go? And just look at everything in your life and just say, okay, what is just kind of the extra thing? And so I will look at the list, go through all the bills, and see if there's any way to, sometimes consolidating your bills is a very helpful tool, right? Sometimes you can finance them in a way where you get a much lower percentage rate, and then it's easier to afford or whatever. So, there's programs like that. I think they're very helpful, and I think they really can simplify. Sometimes people need some help. Sometimes you can go into your bank and they have financial advisors as well to help you plan. I think that's really important. Sometimes I've had dear friends where there was always a certain amount of money every time they got paid. You can even set that up through your work if you have an automatic deposit where a certain amount of money goes into a separate account, like the savings account. Not all of it goes into, like if you put it in your checking account or whatever, but always putting something aside, but looking at how can you make this stress start to release for you. So very practical, very, make a list everything. Can I cook more? avoid eating out? Can I consolidate my bills? Can I release some of those bills? Because a lot of times these days I find we have subscriptions. There's like this endless list of things that we have, and it's just stuff, and it's not worth more than your well-being internally. It's not worth more than you being able to really have a fulfilling connection with your loved ones because you're working so hard, or you're always maxed out and in fight or flight for this survival. So it is a very complex, I think at times, issue to balance. But writing it down, getting a plan, talking to someone at the bank, things like that, to find ways to make it have some ease, I think is very important. So I always go through, okay, what can I get rid of that I don't need? And I go from there. And then once I go through that elimination process, that always makes me feel better. I always find something. I'm like, why am I paying into that? I don't use it. I really don't use it. And then why keep that in your life, So then I just pare down anywhere I can. Sometimes I even sell things. I'll find stuff that I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go sell this. Downsize makes me feel much better. So finding a way to create movement, sometimes taking some clothes you haven't worn a gazillion years to the consignment store. There's a lot of ways where you can actually, make a little money off of the many, 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 many things that we have that often we don't use. So anyway, I look at that, and it's a fun thing you could do with someone. You could even do it as a family project. What do we have that, maybe we need to release at this point? Maybe, we sell for prices someone else gives us a little bit of money, but it's like a shedding of the amount of, it's like all those things take up space in your life. They take up mental space. They take a little like energetic space. They affect your psyche. They really do. So, you can do it with your family as a project. Like, what can we get rid of? Is there a creative way to maybe make money of releasing that? Or do we want to gift it to someone that we really care about, that we know could really use it? And that creates an opening in your life for new energy to come in. All right, because we're going to be talking about creating abundance. So to create abundance, you have to create space for that abundance first. So first, you have to create an opening for those wonderful new things to come to you. So releasing things that are just stuff or pressure that we no longer need in our life are going to not only ease the pressure that you're feeling, ease the stress and the worry and the concern. Any way you can do that, it also is going to create an energetic and emotional space for new good things to come in, for abundance to come in. And so we're going to talk about how we think about abundance. What does that mean? And how that affects our connection with the people that we love, people that we would think of as our closest emotional community. Okay? So I would recommend getting a piece of paper out. You write everything down, all your finances. Where is it going? Anywhere you can pare it down, I recommend doing it. Just really strategize. Sometimes this is a fun project you can also do with your partner. You can do it with a friend. You could do it with your sister. It's like really sometimes you got to put your heads together and say, let's look at what we're doing here. And then just pare it down, and keep working at it. Like really make it a mission to alleviate that pressure and stress. And then I will look at, how much am I working? Often, this is something I always have to work at, is am I creating enough space to have fun and just playful time within the amount of things that I'm doing for work? So then you kind of look at your life and say, okay, I've pared down the money and I'm going to keep doing that. I am going to very stubbornly, very driven, pair that very in a very driven manner address that issue. And I will not give up until it starts to feel better. So the focus isn't like, oh my God, I don't, have enough money, or there's so many bills. The focus is, how can I maybe get rid of some things? How can I cancel some things that I'm not really using? Often I will work out from home. I'm a fitness trainer, but I sometimes will join a gym, and I'll go to the gym for a while, and then I'll realize I'm not using it as much as I would like, and it's more efficient and more balanced for my life to work out at home. And so I will find a way to create that at home and make sure it happens and let that bill go. So like looking at, how, or maybe I like to ride my bike more than going to the gym, right? So then make yourself do it. You have to create time for this. You have to schedule it into your life. But maybe you ride the bike and you let the membership go, and you could always activate it later on down the road. But sometimes we need to look at, am I utilizing all these things I'm paying for? How can I pare it down? And maybe I say, like, once a month I can go out with my friends and go out to dinner, spend some money, treat myself. But once a month. The rest of the time I'm going to cook. The rest of the time I'm going to really put that effort in to cook as much as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay if you break your own rule, but keep looking at, how can I realistically make the financial, like what it looks like in my life, peaceful and relaxed. Not everyone has financial struggles, but then we're going to look at abundance too. Because I have found, in knowing people that did have a lot of finances, it doesn't, like financial ease, it doesn't mean that they really had like a connection to feeling abundant or feeling a quality of life where they had a fulfilling connection with the people in their lives either. So even if we have money, it's still very applicable to start looking at, how do we structure our life? How are what kind of pressure do we put on ourselves by having a life that requires sometimes more than what we can handle amount of finances? Living simply, I think, is really, there's a lot of wisdom in that. And so I think it's something to consider. I think there's really some powerful techniques. Even if you feel like there's small things, the more you take physical action to release things you do not need that apply stress for you in the material realm, I think it's a really valuable tool. So looking at that, and then looking at, how are you structuring your life? Am I creating enough time to have some fun and to have exercise? Because we're looking at, okay, so if we can release some of the pressure in the material realm, however it is, okay? Sometimes we live beyond our means. I've done it. It's, and we have to look at it and like, this is not worth it. Life is about feeling happy, enjoying, finding joy in your life, finding meaning in your life. So if we are constantly bogged down and feeling so much stress that we're in fight or flight mode, where is the quality of life? It's not there. So finding a way where you really look at, well, how can I budget to where there's at least once a week, maybe I go do something special. And throughout the week, I'm gonna work out a couple of times. Maybe I create time to talk to my friend on the phone. I just sit down, maybe I play cards with my kid. Finding ways to slow down. Because I think a lot of times this amount of stress and drive and pressure in life, I have found personally, it will make me less accessible to the people that I love the most. Because my cup will be really empty by that point, because I've poured it out so much doing too many things. So I often will really look at, How can I ease the pressure when I notice that I'm feeling cranky, if I notice that I don't have enough space and relaxation to connect with people at times, you know? So it's like you kind of get really just spent, right? Your cup gets empty and you get spent, and then there's no like juice left for not only yourself but for your loved ones. So that's kind of a big deal. So we got to really look at these patterns. So that's why I recommend really looking at what you're doing. Don't judge it. Don't feel bad about it. It's some of it's going to be unavoidable sometimes, but we can look at how can we organize it. We can look at anything you can let go. You can look at maybe I need to sell that thing. It's a great thing. It's actually worth money, but I'm not utilizing it. Maybe there's a bunch of clothes. They don't fit me anymore, and they're not really my style anymore. And but they're gorgeous, like shoes. Oh, I love shoes. You never know that you can take them to the consignment, and sometimes that will give you, and then you have money to buy something new that does suit you now, right? Or sometimes there's jewelry. Sometimes you have this old car that you have kept. Just see what you can do to kind of create it in a creative way. Start to release things that are material. Just keep releasing and keep releasing, with the goal of having more satisfaction, emotional ease, and connection with your quality of life and the people you love. Okay, so it's really worth it. So make that a project, and then see how you can balance out the work. So sometimes you're like, okay, there's so much going on. Unfortunately, I can't, this is the best I can do, and it's still a lot. I totally hear that, totally recognize that. So then see if you can say, okay, then I'm going to give myself 20 minutes every day, go for a walk. 20 minutes to sit in the garden with a cup of tea. 20 minutes to just deep breathe and maybe just sit and relax and try to really be in my body to calm, the physical aspects of our being, to calm the mind out. Maybe I'm just going to take a bath. Maybe that will really help. Like, create, even if there's small pockets, create the small pockets as often as possible. Sometimes even just a little nap. Often what I do is if I'm I practice a lot of Qigong, which is a part of, when I teach the guided meditations in this show, I'm teaching you how to work on the energy in your body, because it will really help regulate you. And the scientists will admit we have energy in our body. It helps run our heart and our mind and the systems. Everything's connected. There's an energy flow. So often if I have to sit somewhere and wait, I will do deep breathing, and I will work on focusing on my energy and just really grounding it, which I've talked about before, feeling connected with the earth, breathing deep, deep, deep into my belly, and start doing this process to relax my mind, relax my organs, and raise my energy level so I have more energy for myself and the things I'm doing that day. So finding time to just do that deep breathing, to take a moment, because sometimes we have to sit places and just wait, like the doctor's office, the dentist office, or the store. Sometimes you're just standing there. There's no choice. You're going to be there a while, right? So I really like to incorporate that into my day, into these little pockets. So again, my name's Michelle Love. This show is Dynamic Change. It is a weekly show that I upload onto my YouTube channel, so you can watch the whole show of all the shows I've done. And the name of the YouTube channel is Michelle Love with Dynamic Change and Wellness. This particular show today, I'm talking about how can we release the pressure and the stress of the material qualities in our life, so we can create space for abundance, so we can create space for better feelings of being able to relax within our body and be more present and connected with the people we really love, our community, our kids, our spouses, our animals. Like, how can we not be in fight or flight mode, right? Because I think often we are actually in that mode, and we're so desensitized to realizing that we're not supposed to be, like, naturally, organically, we're not supposed to be revved up. And our society is very revved up. We work way too hard. So you really have to shift in a very creative way the focus of how can I make this different. And it takes some practice, but this is a really valuable tool. It is worth the effort. And I think it's really, really important that we start looking at these things like, it's like just switching the perspective. How can I switch this? So once we look at shifting that, then you're creating pockets for more and more wellness, which the wellness and the fun and the laughter and the joy and the creativity offsets that stress and pressure of overworking. Okay? It is so dire for your health and your life and your well-being to create as much joy, as much fun and creativity and flow for yourself as possible. And this helps our close people, our close connection. And at the end of the show, we're going to do a guided meditation to release this stress, this worry and concern, to create space to like a magnet, attract abundance into our lives. So abundance, what does that mean to us? So abundance is, in my opinion, for me, this is for my heart, for my inner sense of self. Abundance for me is feeling love, feeling peace and fulfillment, and just like this texture of happiness in my life. And I like to give texture to our thoughts and our experiences and our emotions, because I think we get so caught up in our minds, particularly in the American society, that we lose texture for all the levels of experience. There are so many ways to experience our lives. And if we are caught up in just the mind, which is just thoughts, I mean, thoughts, they can be stressful, but they don't have the depth of the heart and the emotions. It's a very different experience if we are really working on connecting with feeling our heart at peace. When you feel your heart at peace, the amount of texture and experience that you feel, it's like a salve. It's like a healing salve for you on all levels. And it feels, it has a feeling, right? It has it's blissful. You feel it through your whole body. It has, to me, it feels so deeply satisfying that I feel it like throughout every portion of my body. So to me, it's like dense, like it has color, it has a sensation, like if someone was touching your arm, oh, that feels great, right? So sometimes we gotta learn how to wake ourselves back up. So sometimes you may need to just gently pet your arm. You can have your spouse do it too, but sometimes you need to get acquainted with yourself and find connection, because we get so stuck in our mind, we don't even think like, how can I feel good? We're like so stressed out, like I'm trying to survive and the mind is just like, I'm just trying to survive, and I'm not sure how to pull this one off, and I'm just flying off, you know, in a chaotic way, right? So how do we bring ourselves back to ourselves, back to the texture of enjoying just looking at something beautiful? My whole life, I have so enjoyed ambiance. I so appreciated if I was going to go somewhere, take myself out to eat. And I've done this since I was really young. In my 20s, I wanted like an ambiance. I would go somewhere that I liked the environment, that I liked the food. I would bring a really nice book, and I would sit, you know, have my tea or my coffee or whatever it was. But it was a whole like ritual for me. Or if I was going to come home, I loved to light the candles. I would light the candles, maybe put some pretty music on. I love things that smell good, so maybe a little incense or something. But I'm working on the texture of it, the full body experience of how can I relax my mind by softer lights, by some beautiful music that just, you know, is soothing. It opens up my creativity. I feel it in my body, and my mind relaxes. And things that smell good, you know, that does a whole nother thing. That can help your appetite. That can help you just release, you know, the aroma of the stress of the day, right? Like you got to change it. You got to reset yourself. So if I were to do something, I used to love to just walk around town, get a coffee or tea, and just window shop in shops where things that I would never go in there and buy anything, because that maybe it was like a super off the chart expensive place, but they had such beautiful things. I grew up in a really creative city with a lot of art and everything, and so just looking at the art, going to a gallery, going someplace where there's just some beautiful things, not with the idea of acquiring it like I had to have it, but to appreciate the beauty that my eyes got to see. So taking in beauty in your eyes, or go to the beach and just look at the sky, look at the ocean. When I go in nature, I like to really just try to feel like I was able to connect with that nature experience. Like really just sit there and feel connected. So rather than thinking about my stuff, be there long enough to where I feel like I actually was able to fully experience that moment. I was smelling the air in nature, the salt at the sea. I looked at the sky and I saw the reflection of the sun on the water. I noticed how the water was moving, the rhythm of the water, the color of the water, the feel of the sand underneath my feet, how my skin felt with the breeze. And just I listened to the birds, whatever the sounds are of the nature of the animals, of the ocean, and like I really tried to get into that moment and outside of my head. And I think the more we create space for that, connecting with something else other than the pressure of doing, acquiring, paying the bills, being responsible, your well-being is going to shift. So to me, abundance is really feeling appreciative of my kids that I love, appreciative of, you know, my animals, of my home, and just really slow it down and say, you know, I really do have a lot. I can just appreciate this moment, appreciate the cup of tea, or sitting outside. And the more we can, you know, be grateful for what we do have and see it as abundant. Be grateful your body works. That's a big one. Okay, if your body works relatively well, you are rich. You are very, very rich. If it's still moving well enough to where you're not like, oh my God, when I get up, I feel 100 years old. That is fantastic. Huge accomplishment. If your mind still works, huge accomplishment, right? And if it doesn't work, I'm sorry, you gotta have a sense of humor because things do break down. But, like really look at, how are you quantifying abundance in your life? So looking at that, so constantly focusing on what is working, what is meaningful. And even if it's very small, the more you focus on it, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, creates more space for abundance, bigger, bigger, bigger. And it creates space within your psyche, within your mind, within your heart, within your amount of receptivity to good things. Okay? So it's really important. And then we can be so present with the people we love, right? Because I think it's a shame when I've been a single mom for a very long time. It's not an easy role, I will say right now. And the biggest thing I didn't like about it was just because it made it trickier to have the space for being as receptive and able to connect all the time with just being relaxed. I didn't like that. So I would like to help other people have more of that, because that was the only thing there. I was like, that was really the only thing that pattern wise with that experience in life that I was like, I don't like that one. So it's important to find a way to shift it. I think we can create whatever we need to, but you have to be creative. You have to be stubborn about it. You have to not give up and push and push and push and create that thing. So again, my name is Michelle Love. This show is Dynamic Change. And my goal is to stimulate your thought process to maybe look at it in a different way. Look at the things that challenge us in life in a different way. So you can create new paths from a creative stance to shift things in big ways in your life to have so much more wellness and fulfillment. My background, you can go to my website, dynamicchange.wellness.com, to learn more about me, but I've worked a lot in mental health. I've worked a lot with people my whole life in the wellness field, and I've cared very deeply about us finding more satisfaction and healthy connection within our society. So that's what I am sharing with you, is psychological insight and ways to develop new ways to approach life, in my opinion. And this show is every week on KPCA-LP in Petaluma, and I upload it to my YouTube station, Michelle Love with Dynamic Change and Wellness, and you can watch all the shows I've done. And you can always email me through my website and ask me to approach certain topics or things that are challenging. Okay, so now we're going to move into a guided meditation. So with this guided meditation, it is to help you release stress and pressure around material, like financial stress, okay? So we can open up and create more abundance, attract more abundance in our life, and connect more deeply with our loved ones. And even if you feel like, hey, I don't have anyone, I'm all alone, okay? Sometimes people are all alone. You want to be able to connect with yourself. The more you can connect with yourself, have some love and some satisfaction and wellness and tenderness for yourself. Pet your arm, pet the arm. The more you have that, okay, it's going to create accessibility, receptivity, and openness to connecting to others in that way. So pet the arm. You ready? Okay. So do this with me now. You can sit down, you can close your eyes. A big glass of water is great. Take a big drink of that water to help encourage deep breathing. It's always helpful to be regulated. And you can put your hands, palms up on your hands, on your thighs if you like. That's how I like to do it. I feel the most open with my body language when I sit like that. So when I'm working on my energy and meditating, that's what I do. That's how I do it. You can lay down, and people that like to do yoga do savasana. This is nap time, guided meditation time. So we're going to take some deep breaths, breathing in as deeply as possible. And then I want you to hold that breath for a moment. And when you exhale at your pace of breathing, exhale completely and try to squeeze all the air out of your lungs. So then when you take your next breath, it's a very full breath. So exhale. Inhale, breathing all the way deep into your belly. And again, breathe at your breath pace, not mine, but following the format. And then exhale. Inhale, inflate like a balloon. Should make your nostrils move. And then exhale. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Now, as I've talked about before, grounding your energy means being really present in your body and imagining or feeling, if you feel your energy going down through your feet and your tailbone into the earth to connect, really be present, really feel solid, really connect with the earth and feeling really connected to yourself, to your power, being really present. So imagine your energy when you exhale, like you can see it as white light, you can see it as, I like to do a denser color, kind of like a earthy color, like a dirt color, like a brown that kind of just releases from my body and my tailbone, like these it just pours out and it connects into the earth and it just grows roots. Okay, so inhale. Exhale, releasing the energy, or just visualize it with your mind. Again. And exhale. Breathing whenever you need to, following the format. One more time. Releasing the energy into the earth. And also you can use your arms when you do that breathing. This is the Tai Chi thing, where when you inhale, you bring the arms up with the breath. Feel it coming up through your body, the breath and the energy. Exhale, letting the arms float down towards, like almost straightening down towards the body. So that's Tai Chi, Qigong kind of movements. Very helpful. I always recommend studying that. You can find fantastic, there's monks on YouTube that are just amazing that teach the Qigong. That's QI and then a separate word, Gong. QI, Gong. You can pronounce it Qigong, Qigong. So it's like Tai Chi but simpler. Really fantastic to open up the energy in the body, open up your breathing, get everything moving and circulating, help relax the mind. It's like a moving meditation is really what it is. It is ancient. It's from the Chinese culture, and it is for your health. Very, very powerful practice, very easy. And it'll help regulate your emotions and move the emotional body. Sometimes I've had friends that never cry, and when they do it, with the people that they find they really resonate with on the YouTube, it makes them cry. Huge to be able to release something. They don't even know why. They're like, I needed to cry. It was built up. So that's a very accessible, thing you can practice. So we're going to take one more breath. Exhale, release. And when I feel my energy move my body, I feel like all of a sudden I got a little heavier as I grounded. Okay, so grounded into the earth. Now I want you to think of what your mind or your body feels when it feels pressure around material things, around money, bills, survival. Okay, so I want you to kind of give it a density. All right, so let's make it black gook, like a storm cloud. Right, it doesn't feel good. So we're going to give it a density, give it texture. I talked about texture earlier. This texture lives in you, okay? This texture clogs up your arteries, puts pressure on your heart, makes your mind feel heavy and stressed, okay? And it sucks out your energy, makes you tired, okay? Unhappiness and stress it's like a poison, a slow poison. We're going to get rid of that poison, okay? So give it texture because you want to pull it up out of your body. So imagine with your mind, you're vacuuming up all of this like black gunk in your body. So imagine if you could just kind of just scrape it off of all the little corners. Okay, you're just gonna like with a little broom, with a vacuum, whatever you're gonna do, but you got a shell, a beautiful shell from the ocean, and it's gonna just collect it from all the corners of inside your mind, inside your chest, inside the belly, the bottom of the feet, everywhere. You just like really very determined. I'm just going to collect all this stuff. Or you have a magnet, maybe you magnetize it. Get creative. I don't care how you do it. You find a way that you're like, I am going to be stubborn and collect all of this stuff for my well-being. And then collect it all into this ball. With your mind, with your breath, I want you to imagine pushing the ball outside of your body and put it in front of you, okay? So this storm cloud of gunk is going to be in front of you. So you have to be very focused, very determined, because we get attached to our stress. I hate to say that, but it's true. We get so connected with our stress, our patterns of thinking around these issues, that it can be a challenge to shift the pattern. So that's why I talk to people a lot. I'm a self-defense instructor. I talk a lot about being connected with your power inside of yourself for a constructive purpose. This is constructive. So I want you to be feisty for yourself, determined for yourself, strong for yourself. That you will not give up and push this out of your body, okay? So that's what I'm talking about when I ask you to be feisty, okay? This is the good fight for you, okay? So inhale. See it in your mind. Exhale, push it out with your mind and your breath outside of your body. Inhale. Ooh, that was hard. Inhale. Exhale. And feel it just leaking out of your body through all your pores. You're pushing it out with your breath. 2 more breaths. You can use your arms. I like to do that. Feel it extending out of your body. 1 more time. Exhale. So you can do that standing up. You can do it with your mind. You can do it with your breath. And now what we're going to do is I want you to imagine this ball in front of you and send it some healing, because we want to break it up and change it. These thoughts, these patterns, this energetic, these emotions can be transformed into something better. We want to recycle it. So now take some breaths, and with your mind, be very focused. With your heart, be very focused. With your solar plexus, the center of your body, with your personal power, be very focused. With your lower abdomen, your whole being, I want you engaged, and I want you to send some healing energy, some green energy to this thing in front of us. Okay, ready? Inhale. Visualize it coming out of those centers of your body. blasting it with green to heal it. Again. Again. Now send it love and some compassion, because we have to be compassionate with ourselves. We all struggle with these issues, okay? Totally normal, but we're going to change it. So compassion is what changes it. Send love from your heart. Inhale. Exhale, sending it pink light. Again. Now you can visualize whatever resonates with you. Some people like angels. Ask the angels to take it away. Just recycle it, make it into something better. If you want to just focus on transmuting it with your intention yourself, do that. If you like the idea of the elements, a beautiful breeze coming in and just blowing it away like leaves or petals, flower petals, and it just shifts and changes and it has been recycled, do that. If you want the water like an ocean, like maybe you sent it out into the ocean and it changed and shifted into foam on top of the ocean and just relaxed and turned into this positive thing. Do whatever works for you, but give it another way to be. Then what we're going to do is visualize bringing in, this is Tibetan technique from the Tibetan monks that when I had the privilege of going to one of their gatherings that I learned when they were teaching some meditation, is he said, imagine a golden ball that comes through the top of your head. It's like an energy ball. And it goes into your body and it bounces around. And you bounce it around everywhere and it breaks up any negativity, any stress, any pain. And just bounce it. Really bounce it. Let it move. Let it, break up the stress in the heart. Break up the stress in the belly. Break up the stress all the way down around our butt. Sorry, sometimes we hold tension there. Because the fight or flight tightens that area of the body, okay? So you want to just bounce that ball around and relax. Say, it's safe. I'm okay. I'm okay. And keep telling yourself, I'm okay. And I am finding wellness. I'm attracting abundance. I'm okay. I'm realizing everything's going to work out fine. I'm okay. I'm safe. I am safe. I am safe, and I have everything I need in this moment. I am safe, and I have everything I need in this moment. And say your name. I'm going to say my name. I am Michelle, and I am safe, and I have everything I need in this moment. Bounce that ball. Keep bouncing the ball. I am safe. I am Michelle, and I am safe. I have everything I need in this moment. I am Michelle. I am safe. I have everything that I need in this moment. And then relax. And then in your heart, I want you to focus on your heart. Breathe into your heart. Move the energy in your heart. Beautiful, beautiful pink or red. Just beautiful. Or you could also do green. So put this beautiful color in your heart. Now imagine connecting with abundance. Imagine the texture of abundance. The texture is, you can smell it. It smells like a beautiful flower or a beautiful breeze. It smells like, I feel abundant when I smell that, my favorite meal I like to prepare. I feel like I have all the nutrients I need in my life. Abundance tastes like the really ripe strawberry that I have in the summer. Like there's such abundance in the earth. Abundance tastes like that, my favorite lavender tea, and how I just feel in that moment taken care of. Abundance looks like that beautiful piece of art or painting that just makes me feel so connected within myself and such deep meaning, and it's beautiful. Abundance looks like this beautiful tree in my front yard that has always given me solace. Abundance looks like my family. Abundance feels like the fire that I put in my fireplace in the winter. I feel so warm and nurtured. Abundance feels like holding hands with my partner. Abundance feels like when I touch my arm. Abundance feels like when I hug myself. Abundance feels like when I connect with my beautiful heart and well-being and my good intentions. Abundance feels like acknowledging how good I feel in this moment, because I'm able to connect with myself and open my heart towards the ones that I love the most, and create your community. Community is the ones you love. Community is your favorite friends. Community is the people that you feel and understand, like you share understanding. So be kind to that community. Be kind to try to create deeper community.